krank bist du denn? Er kommt hierher, lauft, Leute. Ey, wie krank bist du denn? Er kommt hierher, lauft, Leute.
Well, those are the images outside the McDonald's restaurant earlier. These are the images tonight in Munich as a state of emergency is still in place. People still trying to get back to their homes, but police warning people to stay away from crowded areas. Sam Kiley, our Foreign Affairs editor, has been following events, and other footage bears an interesting aspect to this, Sam, and particularly the conversation that took place.
Yes, it's an extraordinary exchange between people on a balcony and a gunman as he emerges. You'll see him there just by that white block building in the centre of the picture. There is a gunman. Now the individuals, it's quite colourful language in the exchange as they yell abuse at him. But crucially, he yells back several, perhaps, revealing details. The first is that he makes racial abuse towards Turks, as he calls, just in general. He then goes on to insist that I'm German, saying that he's German, and that he says, I grew up here in the Hartz IV area, which is an oblique reference to having grown up on benefits, if you like, a bit like growing up with UB40, in the UB40 area, in the British translation would be. So I think that those three factors would indicate, by no means proof positive, but give a degree of indication that this may not be an attack tied to Islamic terrorism, but rather tied to somebody who is suffering from severe mental health problems, and is a right-wing extremist of the sort that we saw Anders Breivik exactly 5 years ago today, when he went on his rampage in Oslo and Atoya Island and killed 72 people. This individual we've looked very closely at the video and freeze-framed it and blown it up. He is the same person as was seen outside the McDonald's shop. He's wearing the same outfit and has the same unusual gait. And therefore, slightly undermining a growing theory now that perhaps there was only one gunman in this incident, and that earlier police reports that they were searching for three may have flowed quite naturally from witness reports elsewhere that turned out to be inaccurate. We don't know that for sure, but we do know that this is the same individual on this rooftop, on this car park rooftop, as was shooting outside the McDonald's down below and earlier on during the incident. And that may be also the individual who the police have been somewhat hinting may be the ninth person found dead inside the shopping mall, may indeed be the perpetrator. And that, of course, is their principal hope, because if there's only one and he's now dead, then the whole incident is over. The police also indicating that they don't see any particular danger external to the shopping mall, which would say, obviously, that means that they feel that whatever has gone on in the shopping mall is now contained to that area, but are asking people to evacuate elsewhere in case perhaps there are other gunmen on the run.
But clearly the fact that it will now be investigating this, the ninth person, as you say, there's suspicion that it may well be the gunman or one of the gunmen. They will want to work backwards to find out exactly who he was, what the connections were, and indeed what the motive was, bearing in mind that this may not be an Islamist attack as we've seen elsewhere.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the critical thing from the German perspective is to establish the motive. Having established the motive, you can then conduct further and wider investigations, first of all, to see if it was part of a deeper conspiracy. Now, if this is a lone individual, that should become apparent fairly quickly. But as we saw in Nice, there was an early assumption that this was a lone wolf attack in which a man ploughed his lorry into a crowd and killed 84 people and injured many hundreds of others. But then within 24 hours it emerged that it was actually something more serious and a plot that had completely evaded French intelligence and security services. Similarly, here in this German incident, whether it is associated with right-wing terror or Islamic terror, the concern will be that if it was part of an organised plot, how is it possible that this could have been put together if it was a wider conspiracy, a wider access to weapons and so on, and more than one person involved? How is that possible that it didn't get flagged up in Germany when the Germans are very closely monitoring both right-wing extremism and, of course, the potential dangers thrown up by Islamic militancy?
The other aspect, of course, Sam, as I was putting to Thomas Keeling, the London correspondent for Die Welt, is the political fallout, if you like, for Angela Merkel, who we've still not heard from tonight.
I don't think we should be surprised we haven't heard from her, because she hasn't got anything really to say beyond what would I suspect sound rather platitudinous, that she was concerned and deeply saddened by the events. I think that as Chancellor of Germany, she will want to come out with a definitive statement one way or the other once it's been established what the motives were for this incident. And the reason for that is precisely because Munich has been the gateway for the vast majority of the 1.2 million refugees that the nation has absorbed over the last 12 months or so. And she will want to know whether or not she needs to respond to this being a somehow right-wing, racist, perhaps motivated attack, whether it is simply the actions of a lunatic or whether it has its roots in Islamic militancy. And those three options are very, very different and all have profound political implications.
Indeed, as we're speaking, Germany's Foreign Minister Steinmeier's motive for the attack in Munich not completely clarified. And we're also just learning, AFP is reporting that Angela Merkel will indeed convene a German Security Council after the shootings, according to a spokesman just releasing that. So clearly, as you say, they will want to draw all these pieces of information together and establish exactly where they are.
Yes, they will. They will, because it is both a policing and security issue, and it has very important political and social implications, particularly in a country like Germany, which has been bitterly criticised by fellow European Union members, particularly places like Hungary, but others, Bulgaria too, for the open door or open gate policy that it had, that meant that huge numbers, in their view, huge numbers of people were drawn through Europe from the violent Middle East into Germany, and then as a member of Schengen can ultimately travel more widely. A lot of right-wing parties have tried to make political hay out of this and suggesting that fifth columns of terrorists would be smuggled in with these refugees. There's been precious little evidence for that so far, but it is also true that so-called Islamic State would wish to exacerbate all and any tensions between migrant and refugee populations and the longer standing populations in any European country, because it is assimilation and integration that is most threatening to the ideology of an extremist group, for example, such as Islamic State.
Sam, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Much reaction, of course, from across the world, including from the White House, with President Obama giving his reaction, promising to give Germany all the support that the country needs.
Some of you are aware there were shootings in Germany, and we don't yet know exactly what's happening there, but obviously our hearts go out to those who may have been injured. It's still an active situation, and Germany is one of our closest allies, so we are going to pledge all the support that they may need in dealing with these circumstances.
Well, let's head back live now to Munich. Sky Samantha Washington live for us there in the city centre. And Sam, we were just reflecting that there is a state of emergency declared there tonight by the police. What does that actually mean? What does it feel like there in the streets?
Well, it's a very muddled picture. I'm